Hey, what's up guys? In today's video I want to talk to you about sigils and all you need to know about them. So let's start with the very basics. We have 5 different stages or rarities of the sigils, and we have the stage 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So those are different versions or stages you can have. Also, each of the stages can have a different version of them, which is called the plus version. And the only difference between the two is that the plus version has additional trait on them. Now, the difference between those rarities or stages is that the starting level of the trait and the maximum you can reach on that sigil differ. So, for the first one, we go from 1 to 1. Then on second from 2 to 3, then 4 to 6, 7 to 10, and finally 11 to 15. So as you can see, obviously, when you're planning your endgame build, you want to use the 5 plus versions because they can go up to 15, which is the maximum you can have right now. And also you have the obviously the plus version, so you can have two different traits on the sigil. Alright, so now that we got this out of the way, let's talk about different rules for the sigils, because there are some rules and they are important, because if you know the rules, then you will know what combinations of traits is possible in a sigil and which ones are not, which should help you plan for your endgame build and to make sure you're hunting for sigils that actually do exist and how you can even obtain them. So we have 5 different trait types, and I usually call them by the color. So we have basic stats, which are gray, attack, which is the orange, defense, which is blue, support, which is pink, and then special, which is purple. Now, the gray types can have orange substat, they can have a blue substat, they can have pink substat, and purple substat. There is another rule that is pretty universal for all of the traits, which is you cannot have 2 of the same color. There is one exception, which we will talk about the unique sigils a little later, but for now, you cannot have 2 of the same color. So gray can have any other one except itself. Also, the crit rate is kind of a special case, because crit rate cannot be a substat, which we will go to right now, the orange ones, because orange ones actually can have gray as a secondary, but again, crit rate cannot be one of those. I don't know why. Crit rate is just a special case. So the orange ones, like I said, can have gray one, they can have a blue one as well, they can have pink, and they can have purple. Now on to the blue ones, which give me just a second to scroll down quickly. Blue ones can have 2 different types, which are the pink ones and the purple ones. So you cannot have orange as a secondary on blue, which is and also gray one. You cannot have a gray one either. So those are 2 important things to keep in mind, because you will need a lot of orange ones as orange traits in your build, and because of that, as you can see, it's worth to use an orange stat with a blue substat if you need any of the blue ones, instead of using a blue main stat, because then you shoehorned into either having a pink one or a purple one as a substat. Those are your only 2 choices here, so keep that in mind. Another rule for the blue ones is that the resistances, so let me find it quickly, here we go. So things like firm stance, dizzy resistance, glaciate resistance, and so on cannot have a plus version. Now that one I'm not 100% certain of, but considering that I played about 240 to 50 hours of this game, and I have a friend that played about 200 hours, and neither of us have any of plus for resistances. It makes me think that they just don't exist. So they can be on a plus sigil. So for example, we can have orange for orange plus sigil with one of the resistances as a secondary. That's possible, but I did not see a single resistance main stat and then whatever secondary. I did not see that before, so that's something to keep in mind. And then we go to pink ones, which cannot have a plus version. None of them can. And the same is true for the purple ones. Okay, so those are the rules for the sigils, for the traits. Now, the other one I wanted to mention very quickly is the unique sigil, which are the character-based sigils. They are purple, so they are in the purple subcategory, but they are kind of special case because they, for example, can roll purple, right? So you can actually have purple. You can also have two unique sigils with each other, so you can have stuff like this, for example, right? You can also have crit rate, so like I said, that gets kind of you know, thrown out, that rule. And as you can see, orange can also be a substat on them, because if you paid attention, orange cannot be a substat on any other one. So that is something very, very important to keep in mind. The best ones, in my opinion, and the ones you probably will be hunting for, are the unique sigil with a damage cap as a secondary, because of how the game works. Damage cap is very important to have, so yeah, those will be probably the ones you will be hunting for on your characters, unless obviously you're not using both sigils, both unique sigils on your character, then that changes it a little bit, but yeah. Okay, so onto the unique sigils, and by unique sigils or special sigils, what I mean is those are the sigils that have traits that you can only get from Curio. So the ones I've showed you and the regular ones, all of them can be obtained just by either beating stages, or you can get them right here in Transmute Sigils. You can transmute them with different levels here, and once you unlock Transmarvel, you will this will be your main source of the 5+ versions. So this is where you will get majority of your sigils, and they only have like normal types of sigils available here. You will not be able to get unique things that you only get from curios. So those are a separate thing. Now, let me show you really quickly those curio ones. I kind of equipped all of the curio ones I currently have, and I will quickly scroll down so you can read them. Ignore the catastrophe and region because those are the weapon ones, and then drain and improved healing are normal stats, but I have them on my plus versions, so yeah, ignore those two. But yeah, other than that, here you go. I will scroll through them if you want to pause and read about any of them. I personally find like only 2 or 3 relatively good. There are a couple that could be useful, and there are a lot of that are eh. So at least that's how I think. Now this one is also the curio one, and those 3, so this, and this, are a little different. They're unique in their own way, because the crab one you get at the beginning of the game, and as you collect crabs, the stronger this sigil gets, and after you collected all of them, you will receive this one at the end of the quest chain from one of the guys in Folka. So this sigil actually I used quite a bit before I got Terminus weapon, which is the last weapon you will be using. It gives you HP 20% and damage cut 10%, pretty fucking good. I used it a lot before Terminus weapon, so definitely use that one if you have it. And then this one I used a decent amount before I got my Ascension weapon maxed. So I used it for a decent amount of game, but obviously after that you have enough attack where the percent attack is more valuable than this, so yeah. And then Stout Heart you can just craft right here at the shack, right here in Sigil, Stout Heart. That is the only place you can get Stout Heart from, to my knowledge. I did not see it drop from Curio before. I did not see it in the Sigil role. I never seen it as a secondary stat either, so I'm pretty sure this is the only way to get this one. Now, as you also probably notice, you can also craft the unique ones, unique sigils for the characters, and you have another another tab with sigils right here with the gold badges that also have unique sigils. Now those are actually not the same, they are different, since each character has 2 unique sigils, 2 unique traits. So one of them you can craft, the other one you can buy with the badges. So keep in mind when you buy them, if you need only specific one of them, make sure you're getting the correct one from the correct shop. So another thing I wanted to mention are the Rightstones. And let me go to the menu here with the weapons. So Rightstones themselves can come in 4 different versions. We have Vitality, Sequestration, Fortification, and Dread. Now, the difference between them is the main stat. So Vitality is crit rate, main stat. Sequestration is the weak point damage, main stat. Fortification is flat HP, and then Dread is stun power. Now, there are 2 rules that I keep in mind for the Rightstones. The first rule is that the maximum levels you can have on traits on the Rightstone is 10, 7, 5. What I mean by that is the main stat can be level 10 maximum, the middle stat can be level 7 maximum, and then bottom stat can be maximum level 5. So those are the max levels you can have. And the second rule is that whatever the main stat of the Rightstone is, cannot be as a secondary stat on the same Rightstone. So for example, if we have crit rate here as main stat, we cannot have crit rate as a secondary substat. So if you were trying to get a sigil, or not sigil, Rightstone, like me, trying to get crit rate, for example, level 10 and level 5, let's say, that is not possible. But you can have, for example, 2 of the same substats on the Rightstone. I had one right somewhere here. Where is it? I know I had one right here, Garrison. So as you can see, I have Garrison, so you can have 2 of the same substats, it just cannot be the same as main stat. Another rule that you see the Rightstones break is you can have a crit rate as a secondary stat, for example, and you can also have orange ones, right? And you can have multiple orange ones as well. I think I had one that had all 3 stats be orange, yeah, right here. So yeah, those kind of break a bunch of rules that we saw with the sigils. And that is pretty much it. That is all you really need to know about the sigils and how they work and what combinations you can get. Uh, there are a couple of other things build specific that we could get into, but I think that should be a separate video, honestly, for the characters. All I can say is the most important sigil in the game will be the damage cap because of how the game works. You will need to max out damage cap, so your auto attacks, your skills, your SBA can do as much damage as possible. The game limits how much damage you can do, so even if you're putting a lot of the attack percent and a lot of additional damage and stuff on your abilities, on your auto attacks, you cannot cross the threshold that the game has set for your character, and you can bypass that with things like damage cap, which will raise that threshold so you can deal more damage. So the builds right now is all about balancing how much damage you need to give your character and how much cap you can raise as well. So those two kind of need to be in harmony, and realistically you just need to raise the cap as much as humanly possible, and then you match it with however damage you really need, right? So that is the biggest thing. And the other one is that the supplementary damage, for example, goes kind of beyond that cap because it's counted as additional damage. So it doesn't count towards your basic attack hit, for example, or your skill hit. So it's a separate entity, and that will not go into the cap at all, like the cap calculation. So that's why you will see supplementary damage on pretty much any build you can find online. And again, the same is true for the damage cap. And then obviously, like I said before, the unique ones, if they're good for your character, you should definitely be using both. There are certain characters that one of them is good, the other one is not, so it's basically just you have to check it for yourself. But yeah, those are the basic things about the sigils and all of the rules and everything you really should know. Let me know if you liked the video. Give it a like, give me a sub as well if you want to see more of this content. I will be covering this game a lot. I want to cover pretty much everything there is to cover in this game. I want to also do everything there is to do in this game. So I will be playing way more of this game until I run out of things to do, basically. And with any news and any bigger updates, expect more videos covering them, either be it podcasts or maybe other videos about specific topics and news and all the related stuff to the game. And definitely more content when the updates drop. So soon we should have a raid in like 2 weeks, I would assume. So I will definitely be doing that and I will be covering it. So yeah, stay tuned in the channel for more content if you're interested. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.